Okay, hello everybody. My name's Terence from Integrate, and today we are hosting a webinar for Ielts online tests with our presenter who's doing her first webinar session. Our presenter today is Mary, and Mary is a highly qualified and experienced Ielts trainer and teacher from the UK, having taught in the UK and Japan. She specialises in Ielts preparation and English for academic purposes. So today I'm in London, and Mary is in London as well, but in a different location at her home. Okay, so I will hand over to you, Mary, and let's go ahead with our direct question essay.
Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to this Ielts writing webinar. Hello Indurthi, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So I'll be your tutor today for this Ielts webinar. Please say hello in the chat if you can. So hi Caroline, Alex, Mirza. So we have lots of people here today, so I'll try and acknowledge as many as I can. Also, if you can put your band score up in the chat as well, so what you're aiming for. Please feel free to ask questions all the way through the webinar, and I will try and give you answers. Okay, so you're aiming, some of you aiming for, wow, 9, that's very high. 6.5, 7, 8, I think we had before as well. So hello everyone, lovely to meet you. So after the webinar, a chance to ask some more questions, and again, I will try and answer them if I can. So today we're going to be looking at one of the most common Ielts question types, which is the direct essay. So it's also known as the two-part essay because it's got two-part question essay because there are 2 questions in it. And sometimes there are even 3 questions. So I'll just wait a couple of seconds to make sure everyone's here and then we'll get started. So, okay, Indurthi, you can't get less than 7.5 in writing. Okay, so I'll try and help you with that. As I said, I apologise if I'm not pronouncing your names correctly. Juliana, you're looking for 7. Joshua, okay, my voice is echoing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to stop it from echoing. Okay, everyone, so are you ready to start? So the aims of this webinar are that by the end of it, you will understand the direct question essay. You'll be able to plan your essay using a simple structure, and you will also use linking expressions to develop your argument. Okay, does anyone know why we need linking expressions in the essay? Any ideas? Okay, so yes, so to link the ideas, so to relate our ideas logically. Cohesion, yes, that was the word I was looking for, so that's Hamada, thank you. So cohesion, so we'll stick the ideas together and you will score you get a higher score if you're able to do that. We're also going to look at a range of collocations related to wealth and happiness. So collocation, can anyone tell me what a collocation is? Collocation. Words together. Yeah, words together. So phrases that we use. So we often see particular words together and they make a phrase. And we're going to be looking at types of phrases related to wealth and happiness that you can use in your essay. Okay, so this is the question. I'll just read it out for you. So success is often measured by wealth and material belongings. Do you think wealth is the best measure of success? What makes a successful person? Okay, so it probably sounds like an obvious thing to do, but before you start writing the essay, you have to make sure that you read the question very carefully. Okay, after that, identify each part. So how many parts are there in this question? 2, so Mirza says, is that right? 3, yes, so 3 parts. We've got the statement, and then we've got 2 questions following it. Okay. After that, underline keywords. So if you look at the first sentence, the statement, can you tell me what the keywords are? Success, yes. Everyone's saying success, wealth. Yeah, so success, measured, wealth, and material belongings. Good. Okay, and then the first question. Measure, best measure of success. Yes, good. So wealth and the best measure of success. So almost all of that contains keywords. And then the last question. Successful person. Yes, successful person. Makes successful person. Good. What makes a successful person? So as you can see, the majority of the words in this question are underlined. So they're the keywords. And then decide on your overall response. What does that mean? Your overall response. Take a side. Good, Koala. Opinion. Yes, exactly. So you need to decide what you think. Okay, so the first question, do you think wealth is the best measure of success? What do you think? No, no, indeed. Not always. Okay, so most people are saying no. There's a few yeses there. Okay, so yes, partly. Okay, so we decided no. Okay, because success is not just about being rich. Because wealth can't buy happiness. Okay, so I'm not saying this is necessarily the correct answer, it's your opinion, but you need to back it up. And then the second question, what makes a successful person? Okay, what do you think? State of mind, health, education, happiness, ability, relations with others, knowledge. Wow, you've got a lot of ideas. It's really good. Okay, some of you coming up with the same ones as me. Health is the first one we came up with. Quality of relationships, so good relationships. And the last one, I don't think anyone said this one yet. Not career, but that's a good one, Catherine. Satisfaction. Okay, this one, contributing to society. Okay, so these are just examples. Obviously, some of the things you've mentioned are equally as good. So you just need to give a few examples. So this is really just understanding the question. Okay, and then playing your answer. So some people, so I've taught IELTS for quite a long time, and I find some people will just write the answer very quickly without thinking too much about it. And they don't plan because they think they haven't got time to plan. Why do you think the plan is important? To organize ideas. Yes, good, Alex. Organization. Enrico says to save much time so we don't repeat ideas. Yeah. So to save time is a really good point. So you think that because you're spending time on the plan, you won't save time, but actually you will, because it'll be very structured, and then you just follow the organization, and it's actually quite easy to write. So it's all about organizing for a higher band. That's right. Okay, so we just divide it into the different sections. How many paragraphs do you think you need for this essay? 3, 5, 4? Okay, 4, yeah, 4 altogether, good. Yeah, so we have the introduction first of all. So something question, what do you think you have to say here? What do you do initially? Paraphrase, good. So paraphrase the question. What does paraphrase mean? Reword. Well done. Yeah, rewrite, exactly. Rephrase, Sunita, well done. Say in other words. Yeah, good. So you need to paraphrase the question. So use different words to say the same thing, basically. And second part of the introduction, what do you do there? Yeah, somebody said, Mohammed, you said thesis statement. It is like a thesis statement. Yeah, good. So a few of you saying thesis statement. So what you actually do, you outline, it's an outline statement. So it's the same as the thesis statement. What's the purpose of that? Yeah, good, Kuala, you're asking the question. So what's the purpose of the thesis statement? Right overview. Yeah, so it's really to say what your essay is going to discuss, okay? Just telling the reader what you're going to be talking about in the essay. So we'll see this in a minute. And then we have the first body paragraph, body A. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute, Alex. So just let's just look at the structure first, and then I'll come back to that. Okay, so body A. So in body A, the first part, you directly answer what? First idea? The first question. Okay, so remember there are two questions in the direct question essay. So you directly answer the first question. And then you give reason. Good, Hussein. Yes, you give a reason. And then you give an example. Well done, good. And then body B is going to be the same. So directly answer. Yeah, every reason has to have an example, that's right. So in body B, directly answer the second question, yeah, and then the structure is the same. Okay, so then you give a reason, you give an example. Okay, and then the last part. Conclusion, good, Hussein, yes. So in the conclusion, what do you do? Sum up, yep, sum up. Summarize your answer to both questions. Good. Okay, so let's now look at the introduction in more detail. So we've got the outline for the introduction. So you paraphrase the question and then you give the outline statement. So in order to start the essay, you need some kind of phrase to introduce it. Okay, so if you look at the side, underneath paraphrase the question, you've got different ways of paraphrasing. Okay. So, sorry, there are so many questions, I can't answer all of them at once, but there will be a chance at the end if you would like to ask some more. So if you look at the side, we've got different ways of paraphrasing. So there's word form. You can change the word form. What does that mean exactly, changing the word form? Passive, that's okay, yeah, good, Hamada. So if you're using an adjective, you might use a noun, for example, or if you're using a verb, you might use an adjective. So you're using a word which has the same root, but it's a different word form. Okay, so as you can see there in today's, you've got a purple line, so that relates to word forms. We'll look at that in a minute. Also paraphrasing, as somebody mentioned, yes, so the passive, so voice. If you're using the active, you can switch to the passive and vice versa, okay? And then synonyms, what's a synonym? Yeah, you're nearly right. Yeah, same meaning, yeah, same meaning words, good, so you find alternatives. And then word order, you can just change the word order. So these are all different ways of paraphrasing. Okay, so now looking at this introduction, in today's, so we've got word form. Okay, so another word for material. This is actually, okay, what kind of word is this? Sorry, what word class is it, material? Add what? Adjective, yes. Good. Yeah, thank you, Indurthi. Unfortunately, I haven't got time to read it at the moment because I'm doing the webinar, but at the end, we can probably look at what you've written. So in today's, another word for material that's similar. And it's actually also an adjective, materialistic. Good, Vicky, well done. It's in today's materialistic world. Okay, and then we've got a passive phrase here. It is often argued that. Okay, so this is a really nice phrase that you can use in this type of essay. What's the purpose of using a passive phrase like this? What does it do to your essay? Well, yeah, you should get a high mark, definitely. To make it longer, yeah, good, Hamada, to make it more academic, a more formal vocabulary, Claudia, yeah. So it is often argued that, so it makes your writing immediately seem more academic, and yes, you should get a higher mark, Catherine. Can you think of other phrases that are similar to that one, using the passive? It is considered that. Yeah, it is considered that. It is widely believed. Good. It is widely believed that. That one is quite similar, so you could use that one too. It is assumed that. Okay, it's slightly different meaning, but that probably could work. Yes, good. It is commonly acknowledged. That's a really nice one, Caroline. Yeah, good. Okay. Sorry, I put that one in for you. So it is often argued that money and material what? So a synonym for belongings. Possessions, very good. Yeah, material possessions are the sign of a what? So word form, similar to success, successful, yes, good. Okay, so that is really paraphrasing the question. Okay, and then outlining the statement. Okay, so to outline the statement, or to give, as some of you said, a thesis statement, you can use a phrase like this. This essay will consider whether. So for this type of essay, the 2-question essay, it's very useful to use whether. Okay, so you can use whether twice, so it links the 2 questions. So this essay will consider whether being what? Being rich, yeah, or wealthy. Yeah, so wealthy is the word we're looking for. Rich is the same, and that's just using a synonym. Whether being wealthy really is the best. Okay, another word for measure. Form, way, measurements, mode. Slightly different. Way is more similar. There's another word I'm looking for. Okay, you're all sort of close. Indicator. Indicator of success. Okay, so that's probably the most similar word to measure. Okay, and then you use whether again. So or whether. There are other factors which. Okay, so this is a synonym for makes. Lead. Constitute, that's a really good one, Sunita, yes. Except if you use constitute, it wouldn't be followed by to. Contribute, someone said, Hamada, yes, contribute. So there are other factors which contribute to. Okay, now word order. So you've got a successful person. To change the word order, there are only actually 3 words. So how could you change the word order? What could you say? Yeah, so it's just a successful person. So all you need to do is change the person of success. Close, yeah, not bad, not bad. A person being successful. Okay, that just means the same thing. Okay, so now I'd like to look at the body paragraphs. So first of all, in the first body paragraph, as I said, you will directly answer the first question. Okay. And a good way to introduce your first point is to make a concession using the word while. Yeah, there is a lot of vocabulary, unfortunately. Yes. So starting the body paragraph with while. So while wealthy people are often seen as successful, I disagree that. Okay, so this is just giving your stance. I disagree that. A person's what should be measured by wealth. What do you think? Succeed. Okay, so you need success. Similar to success, qualities. Good. Yeah, good, Mirza. That's the word I was looking for. Achievements. So it's instead of saying success again because you've got success in the first part, successful, achievements is a good alternative. So I disagree that a person's achievements should be measured by wealth. And okay, any ideas of which word could possibly come here? So it means the same as only. Alone, good, Bill. Yeah, so this is a really nice structure. So if you're able to use structures like this will definitely raise your score. So I disagree that a person's achievements should be measured by wealth alone. Wealth solely, yeah, wealth solely. That makes sense. That has the same meaning, except you wouldn't put it at the end of the sentence. Okay, so alone is really the only word that would fit there. Okay, and then give a reason. So it's really nice to use this kind of linking expression. This is because money cannot buy happiness. Okay. Which I believe is a more reliable what? Indicator. Yes, good, Hamada. Or indication. So it's similar. A more reliable indication of whether an individual has lived a good life. Okay, what does, if you look at that sentence, what does the which refer to there? Happiness. Yeah, which refers to happiness. And then give an example. Okay, so how could you do that? How could you lead into giving an example? What could you say? For instance, good, for example. Yeah, so for example, a person may live in a what? Nearly Carla, the spelling's slightly different. A luxury house, yeah, a mansion, good. Drive a, what kind of car? Luxury car, a Ferrari car, sports car, yeah, that makes sense. High-end car, yeah. I mean, some of these words you wouldn't actually put them together, but they make sense. So luxury car, you could say. And wear what kind of clothes? Posh clothes, yeah. Branded, fancy, expensive, flashy. But you've got some great vocabulary there. It's really good. Designer clothes, yeah. And yet still be what? Unhappy, good. Worried. Upmarket car, don't know you say upmarket car. Miserable, yes. Unhappy, depressed, yeah. So any of those words are fine there. Okay, so that's the first body paragraph. And then you can, optional, so if you want to, you can size the point by using an expression like therefore, okay? Something being rich, person would not be considered successful by most people. Yes, good. So some of you are saying it's a not Mohammed, Bill, despite being rich. Okay, so with the word despite, do you know a phrase that's similar to despite? In spite of, good, in spite of, yeah. So that has 3 words, so that you do the 2 words together. So 3 words. Those 2 expressions, despite and in spite of, if you're going to use a verb, you have to use the gerund form. Okay, so it has to be ing. So many people that I teach, so many of my students make mistakes with that. So therefore, despite being rich, this person would not be considered successful by most people. Okay, so that's your paragraph. Right, let's just look at the content a little bit. So notice the linking words. Okay, so we've got quite a few linking words here. So I'll just go back. While, I disagree that, this is because, which, for example, and yet, therefore, despite. Okay, what's the purpose of using so many linking words? Too mechanical? No, I would say use, yeah, you get a higher band, definitely. It creates good, Hamada, cohesion and coherence. So this is one of the criteria for Ielts. So if you write like this, you will score, makes your ideas clearer, that's right. You will get a good score in that section, cohesion, yeah. Verb forms, creates a good structure, that's right. So this person has used sophisticated verb forms. So there's the passive, are often seen as, should be measured by, would not be considered. So also modal verbs, may live, may drive, may wear. So it's kind of high-end structured, really. And if you're able to write like this, you should score a high. Get a high score in that section. Also, as I said before, just notice ng after the linker despite. And vocabulary. Okay, so we've got more reliable indication, a good life, mansion, luxury car, designer clothes. So it's quite simple vocabulary, but a few collocations in there. So just make sure that you know like which words collocate with words like clothes, for example. So we usually say designer clothes, luxury car, good life. Try to learn, rather than learning individual words, try to learn phrases, because you will become fluent more quickly and it will just really help your writing. Okay, so let's have a look at the second question. Okay, so you can start with a word like furthermore. What's the purpose of that word? What's it doing? To add, good, Hamada. Yeah, adding ideas, Alex, that's right. So you're adding ideas. So there are other words you could use, more information. Can you think of an alternative to furthermore? Additionally, good. In addition, moreover, a nice one, yeah, in addition. So any of those words are fine. It is, okay, this is another linking phrase. What do you think you could say here? Oh, that's fine. It is considered. Yeah, I mean, that might work. It is clear that. Okay. It is clear that money is not the only. Okay, so this is a word that means factor. Good. A few of you are saying this. I was just going to say, some of you are saying thing. Try to avoid using thing. Why? What's the problem with the word thing? Yeah, what's the problem with that word? It has the right meaning, but yeah, it's too general, exactly. It's very common. It's not academic. It's a little bit vague. It's not clear. So you need to be clear about what you're referring to. So factor makes sense here. Give a reason. Okay, and here's a lovely phrase that you could use. There is a growing body of research which suggests that. Okay, so it's a nice long academic phrase that leads into what you're about to say. Other elements play an important. It is quite long, you're right, but it is quite academic. So if you can use one or two phrases like that, that will really help your writing. Role, good. So play an important role. So the phrase to play a role is a collocation, so that's a good one to remember. And then give an example. So instead of saying for example, you can say for instance. If you use for instance earlier, you would say for example here. A person who has what kind of relationships with friends and family? Good relationships, yeah, that makes sense. Close, healthy relationships, that's another good one. Yeah. Loving, yeah. So loving relationships with friends and family has what kind of health? Great health, harmonious. I think that's for the last one, isn't it? Pink health? Not sure we say that. Good health. Yes. So that is a collocation. We normally say if somebody has good health. And then the last point makes a what to the society. No, you don't need an article with good health, so it's just good health. Contribution, yes. So somebody said contribution, QN, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but yeah, contribution to society is likely to feel happy with their life. And then again, you can optionally you can summarize the point. So instead of saying therefore, you can say as a result, which has the same meaning. They would be. So it's like saying what people think of them. Yeah, as a consequence, yeah. Considered. Okay, if you use considered, it's the right meaning, but it wouldn't be followed by as. Regarded as is good. So you could say regarded as, or viewed as, or seen as is another one. Successful. Even if they were not. Okay, here you need an adverb. Really wealthy. Okay, that makes sense. Really wealthy, or enough wealth. Well, you couldn't really say enough wealthy. Very wealthy, particularly wealthy. Okay, so just looking at the paragraph as a whole. So if you notice the linking words again, there are quite a few linking words. And then verb forms. So the verbs used in the second paragraph are actually the verb forms are actually quite simple. So it's really mainly the present simple. So you've got is, play, has, makes, is likely to feel. And then if you look at the last sentence, which structure is being used there? One which starts with as a result. Conditional, good. Hamada, do you know which conditional? Second conditional, yes, well done. So the second conditional, so they would be viewed as successful even if they were not particularly wealthy. Okay, so make sure you understand and you know how to use the conditionals. And then the vocabulary. So there are a few collocations in here. So we've got, as I mentioned before, to play a role or to play an important role. Loving relationships, okay, so you say to have loving relationships, to have good health, and to make a contribution to society. So as I said before, I really strongly recommend that you learn these phrases rather than individual words. So try to learn chunks of language, and this should really help your writing. Okay, and then the conclusion. So you need to start with a phrase like in conclusion. Can you think of any other phrases you could start with? To sum up, good. How in the end? To sum up, I would probably use, or to conclude, Caroline. Yes, to summarize. Overall, you could say that. Yes. In a nutshell, it's a little bit informal. So in conclusion, in the conclusion, you have to summarize your answers to both questions. You restate your overall response, and most importantly, you do not introduce new ideas. Okay, so the conclusion should be quite simple. So in conclusion, wealth cannot be the best measure of success, as being wealthy does not promote happiness. Bring happiness makes sense, yes. Grant is kind of okay. There's a word beginning with G that I'm looking for that's quite long. Not give. This word here, guarantee, does not guarantee happiness. So this is a nice academic word. To sum up is okay, yes. Okay, which many people would consider. So here you need an adjective. Vital, yes, that's a good one. Any other words? Essential, good, that was the word I was looking for, Ricardo. Which many people would consider essential for a successful life. In my opinion, so then you're giving your opinion, you're restating your overall response. People should aim to cultivate their, okay, and this is giving the reasons now, or sorry, the examples. Remember from before, so relationships, what were the other things? So the next one was health, good. Health and community. Okay, so remember, you're not introducing new ideas, you're going back to what you discussed earlier. So yeah, so it's like society, relationships, community. And as you can see, the verb cultivate is quite a useful one to use because it collocates with many different nouns. So you've got cultivate their relationships, health and community to achieve true happiness and success in life. Okay, so that is the whole essay. How many words do you think this essay has? This answer. 265, okay, 500, not quite. So you're all saying sort of different ones. So it has about 270 words. So it's like the perfect length, really. What's the minimum number you should write? 250, Alex. Yes, that's right. Okay, so you all know that. That's good. So this is the right sort of length. So you're just aiming to have 4 paragraphs, about 250 words altogether. Okay, everyone. So thank you. Are there any questions?
So we have some questions in the Q&A section that I'll just look through. So with the first one from Enrico, it said, do we have to begin by saying in today's world for the intro? So that was at the start of the essay.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, that is just an example. I think it's nice to start with some sort of expression at the beginning because it's a nice way of introducing it. But that is just one example. There are different things you could say.
Great. Okay, and before we move on to the next question, someone's asking, where can I find this recording? So we will be adding all recordings to our new YouTube channel. So I'm going to post the link to the YouTube channel in the group here. And we'll also be adding a new series called Ielts Questions to the YouTube channel. So if we don't get around to answering your questions today, we'll have a look through the questions and we'll do some video answers for the questions in future. Okay. A question from Mirza. She says, or he says, sorry, I'm not sure. If I reported wrongly in task 1, what band will I expect?
If you reported.
Yeah, if reported wrongly in task 1.
If you didn't do very well in task 1, I think you can make up for it in task 2. It's difficult to say what sort of band you'll get because it depends. Because remember, there are different criteria. So there are 4 different criteria. So if you score particularly well in 1, for example, if your essay is very cohesive and coherent, you might get an 8, or you could score really well. You might not do so well in another section, but it can balance out. So you can make up for it. So if you feel like you've done badly in task 1, so I mean, task 1, some people find quite hard. Try not to panic. Just think, okay, I'll make up for it in task 2.
Yeah. Abdel says, can we write 3 bodies instead of 2?
3 body paragraphs.
Yeah.
I think I would say if you've got 2 questions, it's easier to have like 1 paragraph per question.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are 3 questions. So if in the case where there are 3 questions, have a paragraph for each one. So in that case, you would have 3.
Indurthi says, can we use the passive voice in the entire essay?
You can, but it would seem a little bit too formal, I think. I mean, ideally, you need to mix it up a little bit. Otherwise it would just come across as being too formal, and you also need to show the examiner what you know. So if you're just using the passive, it gives the impression that's all you know, so you just need to mix it up. But you need to, it's better to use the passive a bit if you can.
Caroline says, what are the parameters on which the essay is marked for IELTS?
So the criteria. So actually, is it okay to ask questions to people?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So see what people know. So what's the criteria for the marking criteria for this question? So we mentioned one before.
Let us know in the chat, guys.
Task achievement is 1. Lexical resource. Yeah, what does lexical mean? Okay, so yeah, lexical relates to vocabulary. Good. So task response, there's lexical resource, cohesion and coherence, and what's the other one? Grammar, yes. So it's really to do with the range of grammar you use, and obviously the accuracy. So if you use a very sophisticated range of grammar, but you're making lots of mistakes, you won't score very well in that section. So you just need to make sure that you can actually use the grammar that you're trying to, and it's correct.
Okay. Next, Claudia says, if we use phrasal verbs in academic writing, will that give lower points?
I think a few phrasal verbs are okay. It's a good question. There are some phrasal verbs, for example, to set up a company. Okay, that's quite a formal phrasal verb. But a lot of them are verbs that we just use in conversation. So it really depends on the phrasal verb, but I would probably try and avoid them if you can, because they do tend to be informal.
Mofi Seo, oh, my light went off here, says that what are the linking words native speakers use for an essay? But I think that question's a bit too open-ended. I mean, there's too many answers to that. But maybe we'll do a video on our YouTube channel in future for that question. Okay, let's see if we've got any other good question. So people have asked, what's the band score for the essay that we've written?
Oh, actually, I don't know.
And I would say, these slides were developed by teacher Jamie, one of our teachers on the IELTS website, and I'm pretty sure that it's an 8 to 9 band essay.
I would say it's 8 to 9. I would say
8 to 9.
To 9.
Yeah.
You can improve too much on that. So it's a good one.
Okay, we have a question here from Maria. She says, is it necessary to give your opinion on the conclusion part of your essay, or is it optional?
You should give your opinion at the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as I did before, so in my opinion, using a phrase like that to give your opinion.
Mm-hmm. In Dorothy with another question, can we use conditional statements using had?
So you mean using the third conditional? Yes, you can. I mean, as you can see, we use this, the second conditional was used there. So it really depends on the essay. I mean, I think it's more likely you're going to be using second conditional. So third conditional is used more for regrets. I'd need to see the actual question, but definitely second conditional you can use.
Okay, one question here from Hai and Nguyen. She says, do we need to use the idioms in the writing paragraph? So I guess just in general writing, is it necessary to use idioms?
I mean, idioms, again, a little bit like phrasal verbs, quite, you know, the type of expressions you use when you speak. So there might be a few that you could use, but again, it would depend on the idiom.
I think if you do use them, you have to be confident that you're getting them right, because they can be difficult to use correctly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Somebody says, do we lose marks for spelling mistakes?
Yes, I mean, it's to do with the lexical resource. You know, if you're making lots and lots of mistakes, I mean, the odd mistake, I don't think you'd lose too many marks for that. But if you're making mistakes all the way through, I think you probably would, yeah.
Erica says, what is the ideal time frame for planning your answer in the writing task?
For planning, difficult to say. I would probably say about maybe 6 minutes, something like that, 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes, Mohammed is saying, yes. I would say something like that, but at least 5 minutes. And I forgot to say, actually, make sure you leave 5 minutes at the end to check through.
Yeah.
Check through the mistakes.
And final question from Pradeepa, does task 2 give more marks than task 1?
Yeah, it does. I can't remember exactly how many. I think it does.
Yeah.
I need to check that.
Okay, guys. So thank you very much for attending our webinar today. Thank you very much to Mary, who did great on her first webinar.
Thank you for the lovely questions.
If you do have any questions, feel free to email us at hi@ieltsonlinetest.com, and we'll be taking some of the good questions, and we'll actually be making videos of the questions, short 1-minute videos from Teacher Jamie. So please, if you do have any questions, just email us, and keep your eyes out on our, I'll write the email here for you actually, and keep your eyes out for on our YouTube channel. Let me just write the email address here. And the recording of this webinar will be on our YouTube channel as well. So webinars and IELTS questions and IELTS tips will all be added to our YouTube channel. So please send your questions over to hi@ieltsonlinetest.com. And you can also leave comments on our webinar videos as well. And some of our teachers will be able to reply to your comments on the videos. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone, and see you for our next webinar, which is on Thursday. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.